Hi guys, it's Carrie here from Super Vibes, and welcome to your gentle stress management class for this week as we continue to explore using mudra in meditation and yoga. So today we are going to be working with happiness and goodness. I've had a couple of weeks of just feeling like I'm going down a rabbit hole of all of the heaviness and negativity that's around me and in the world right now. And so I pulled this book out. It's called Hardwiring Happiness. And I come back to this book a lot. And especially when I feel like I'm getting into an overwhelming space of negativity. And what I really love about this book, it's by Rick Hanson. It's called Hardwiring Happiness. What I really love about this book is that he talks about the evolution of our nervous system and the evolution of our brains. And because of how the brain has evolved over time, we tend to be wired to really pay attention to the threats in our world, to the things that are maybe scary or negative. And it really kind of comes from that fight or flight mechanism and survival, back in the days where it was eat or be eaten. and we're still kind of carrying around a lot of that in our nervous systems. So we're naturally wired to always be on the lookout for what might harm us or what might be a threat. And so it's easy when things are difficult to just kind of get into that mode. And it's actually a physiological wiring in the brain that perpetuates that. What's really cool is that we can actually change it to some extent. So we can actually rewire our brains to be hardwired for happiness, to be wired to seek out that which is good. Okay? So this is kind of the concept that we're going to be working with in our practices this week. And the mudra that I've chosen to go along with that is called the Pralambra Mudra. And this is the mudra of benevolence. So it's all about the goodness in life. So what I'm going to have you do first is warm up these hands, just like we've been doing each week. I'm going to have you give yourself a good clap. Take a breath in. Do that a couple more times. Just getting these hands ready for our little mudra practice and meditation. Give the hands a little rub. You know the drill by now. We warm up the palms of the hands, the tops of the hands. We warm up the space between the fingers. Give the hands a vigorous waking up. And then just take a big breath in through the nose, and as you exhale, just close the eyes. Let the hands come just an inch or two apart, and just feel the energy of the hands. Again, this is the energy that we're working with as we move our bodies, as we breathe, and these hands are so, so powerful. So we're coming into our mudra now. We're going to take the palms flat, and for setting up the mudra, we're going to bring the thumbs together and then turn the palms down. So the palms are going to be facing down in this mudra. And then you can just let the hands come to rest down in your lap. And just close the eyes and let the chin just ever so slightly tuck. Let your awareness come to the breath. As you breathe in, feel the expansion of the belly, the rib cage, the chest. As you breathe out, feel that quality of release, that quality of letting go. And as you're breathing here, just open yourself to hear the wishes and prayers of all beings. There's a shared longing to be free and happy. As we start to awaken the heart qualities of devotion and compassion, we can take a moment just to reflect on the goodness of the world. So Rick Hansen, who is the author of this book, Hardwiring Happiness, says that the brain takes its shape from what the mind rests upon. So essentially what we pay attention to, or what we're resting our minds upon, becomes the primary shaper of the brain. So there are some things that naturally grab a person's attention, such as a problem at work or some physical pain or a serious worry. But on the whole, we have a lot of influence over where the mind will rest. And that means that we can deliberately prolong and even create the experiences that will shape our brain for the better. And the way that we do this is by letting ourselves shift into a good experience, and then allowing ourselves to be in that experience for a prolonged amount of time. And that can be as little as 10 to 12 seconds. And that lingering in the experience is what starts to reshape the brain. That holding of the awareness, resting the mind on that good experience. So let's take a moment to come to a comfortable position on the belly. Make sure that you have the pillow below the chest so that there's lots of room for your face. And we're going to create that mudra, our Pralambra Mudra. And that's actually going to rest on the ground with the elbows wide, and your forehead is just sort of resting on top of those hands. And as you rest here, just start to feel the front of your body supported by the earth. And begin to really connect to the breath. So as you're breathing here, feel the lower back, the middle back, and the upper back expand on the inhale. And as you exhale, just feel the front body surrender a little bit more to that support underneath you. So we're just starting to invite the back body to relax a little bit more and to feel that the breath can expand into those back ribs. And as we exhale, we're just letting some of the tension that we tend to carry around in the back, we're letting that go. And with our mudra, there's this sense of grounding into the benevolence of the earth, the goodness of everything that is presented to us every day in our lives. So as we're resting here in the breath, let your mind just start to wander over maybe a list of things in your life that are good. And if you find the mind wandering over into a space of negativity, just gently but firmly redirect it back to that space of goodness. Let us take just a few more breaths here, reflecting on those things in our lives that are good. And now when you feel ready, bring your awareness to the legs and point the toes. We're going to begin by bending the knees to about 90 degrees and flexing the feet. And then just slowly let the legs rock from side to side. Feel the pelvis moving with the legs. And this very gentle undulation of the spine as you move. Gradually making your way back to center. Go ahead and point the toes and press the shins down into the earth. Feel as you press your shins and the tops of the feet down into the earth, the action in the quadriceps and the upper front legs, and maybe the knees just lift off of the floor a little bit as you press down into the tops of the feet. Now take a deep breath, and then as you exhale, begin to bend the knees and flex the feet, curling the heels toward the buttocks. On your next inhale, point the toes, extend the legs, and press the tops of the feet down into the earth. We're going to do a few of these. Inhale, and then exhale to curl those heels in. And then on the inhale, point the toes and extend the legs. Just two more of these. Press into the tops of the feet. Feel the knees lift. Exhale as you curl the heel in. So we're activating our quadriceps, the big muscles in the front upper leg. And we're activating our hamstrings, the big muscles in the upper back of the legs. We're also moving through the ankles and the feet, warming up our feet. Now, the next time you curl the heels in, just bring them to about 90 degrees. And then take a moment to move the ankles very slowly around in circles. Take 2 or 3 circles in each direction. And take a moment to wiggle out the toes as well. So let yourself just feel how good it feels to move these little joints in the feet. And And then point the toes and let the shins relax. Go ahead and bring the hands back so that they're just underneath the shoulders, and hug the elbows into the body. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Feel this gentle lift of the face away from the floor. Roll the shoulders back. Feel your strong spine. Maybe lift a little higher. So we're activating those muscles in the upper back that keep us in our upright posture. Let yourself take 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, release. Now turn your head to one side and release the arms down by your sides. Take a moment to relax the shoulders and let your awareness come to the space between the shoulder blades. As you're breathing here, bring that breath fully into the space between the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, just feel that quality of release as the breath exits the body. In his book, Rick Hansen talks about mindfulness and how we practice mindfulness by noticing where we are in each given moment. And maybe we even stop and recognize, oh, hey, this is good. And we take a moment to focus on those positive experiences. But then we just kind of move to the next thing. And in his book, he talks about how in order to really rewire the brain, we need to spend a little bit longer focusing on these positive experiences. We need to hold and pause and be in those experiences for an extended period of time to rewire the nervous system for being drawn to the positive, for being drawn to the happy things. So while you're resting here, let yourself feel, what is it like to just be held by the earth, to rest? And maybe you're not completely comfortable, but can you find something about this position that feels good? And as you continue to breathe, let your focus zoom in on the goodness of this experience. And as you're breathing, just let yourself focus in on that goodness for 10 to 12 seconds. Now from here, we're going to come back to our mudra. So coming back to our mudra of benevolence, bring the hands back into position, thumbs together, palms down, elbows wide, and just let the head rest, tucking the chin a little bit, resting the forehead on those thumbs. Point the toes and press the pelvis down into the earth. Curl the tailbone down toward the earth. And then just lift your right leg any amount. Try to keep the hips square. Point the toes and lift from the inner thigh. Take a breath here. As you exhale, release that leg down. And then let's do that on the other side. Inhale, lift the left leg, keeping the hips neutral. Nice long straight leg as the toes point back. Take an exhale, let that go. Then we're going to move right in, taking just a moment here. Feel how it feels just to rest here, just to be that goodness of the release. And then lift that right leg again. Inhale, feel the action as we are working here to strengthen the lower back and the glute muscles. Take a moment to release the leg. Check in with that feeling of goodness in the pause. And then inhale, lift the left leg and release that down. Checking in with the pause. And now lift the right leg again. So we're going to stay here for a couple breaths. And I want you to feel, even in this moment of action, even in this moment of work, where can we find the goodness? Feeling how strong your leg can be. Taking a moment to focus in on that and to feel it, to have the experience. It feels so good to strengthen my body. On an exhale, release the leg. Take a moment to connect to the feeling of rest. Really focus in on how good it can feel to do nothing. And as we hold our focus to this feeling of relaxation, we draw the experience out a little bit longer rather than jumping right to that next action. We let ourselves spend a little bit more time in this space of ease, awareness on the goodness of this experience, to rewire the nervous system and the mind to seek out more of the goodness. Now when you're ready, on an inhale, lift the left leg. And just like we did on the other side, just start to feel the action of lifting that leg. Feel the strength in the body. Even in the effort, can we find the goodness? And can we focus on the good aspects of this posture? And can we hold our focus there? Take another inhale, and on the exhale, release the leg. Let it relax completely. Coming back to this space of ease and rest. We'll slide the arms out from underneath so they're alongside the body. Turn the head the other way so you're resting with one ear to your mat, your shoulders relaxed, and feel the breath moving in the space between the shoulder blades. Again, Rick Hansen says that in order to rewire the brain to be drawn to happiness and positivity, we need to seek out those positive experiences and allow ourselves to linger in the experiences. Let yourself linger here in the goodness of this rest. Breathe. Just focusing on how good it can feel to do less. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and make our way to lying on the back. So you're welcome to roll over and just wiggle your way to the center of the mat, or you can press up and make your way to lying on your back. And maybe you'd like to put the pillow underneath your head. If you still feel like you need a little support there, feel free to do that. Or perhaps you don't need anything. Maybe you want just a little blanket. Let's take a moment to find our mudra. Palms down right on the belly. Feel the knees drift toward one another. Find the shoulders on the back. Let the head rest in a comfortable position. And just start to sense into that breath in the belly. Feeling the belly move underneath those hands. As you drop into your belly breath, feel that as you inhale, the belly expands. Gets round and full. And as you exhale, there's a conscious drawing in and softening of the navel space. Once again, allowing ourselves to rest, focusing in on the goodness of this breath. Feeling the pelvis and the long spine supported, the head supported, the shoulder blades relaxed. Letting yourself fall into the goodness of this moment. Rick Hansen says spending as little as 10 to 12 seconds lingering in a positive experience before you move on to the next thing can have a wonderful impact on rewiring the brain for happiness, for seeking out the good in our lives. Let yourself take about 3 more breaths. And now from here, go ahead and bring the knees hip width apart. Let the arms come down by your sides. Bend the knees a little bit more so that the heels are moving a little closer to the buttocks. Roll the shoulders onto the back underneath you. Begin to press into the 4 corners of the feet. As you inhale, lift the hips high. Press into the shoulder blades. Feel the heels draw toward the hands. take another big inhale. And as you exhale, release the hips down. So just working a little bit here in your bridge pose. Inhale as you feel the strength of the body, lifting the pelvis, opening the heart. Exhale as you release and find that moment of rest. Let the inhale bring you back into your bridge pose, maybe lifting a little stronger, a little higher. Exhale as you let it go. We'll take 2 more of these, just working at your own pace, using your breath. One more time. As you release the hips back down, let the legs extend. Reach the arms up over the head. Feel a long stretch through the front of the body. Take a moment to wiggle the heels away from the hips, the fingers away from the shoulders. Wiggle the pelvis and the rib cage in 2 opposite directions. We're going to be here for 10 to 12 seconds, just breathing and stretching, and let ourselves enjoy the goodness of this length that we're creating in the body. It feels so good to stretch and reach and to create space. So continue to wiggle, continue to have this experience, to linger in the goodness of creating space. And then on your exhale, go ahead and bring both knees into the body. Take a moment to wrap the arms around the legs. Now the knees can be close together or they can be a little bit wide. You decide what feels right in your body today. Let yourself rock a little bit from side to side. Find some circles with that lower back. Just taking some time to linger in this final stretch before we go into that quiet space. So maybe you extend one leg and then extend the other. You decide what kinds of movement does my body want right now. Let yourself linger in finding that complete release in the body that creates enough comfort and enough ease that you're ready to really rest and drop in. So from here, you're welcome to take a pillow and place it behind the knees, or a blanket, or you don't need anything necessarily. You can always just relax without anything behind the knees. Take a moment to adjust the body, get comfortable. And we're going to come back to that mudra on our bellies just for a moment as we're breathing here. So thumbs together, palms down, resting on the belly. Coming into that belly breath. Letting the focus move to the exhale. And then just keep the shape of the hands, but let the thumbs drift apart until the elbows are making contact with the ground and the arms and shoulders are comfortable. As the focus comes to the exhalation, feel how with each exhale, there's that release, that relaxation, that quality of letting go, and let yourself linger in the experience of ease, of release, the experience of relaxation. as you feel the toes relax more, as you soften through the arches of the feet, through the heels and the ankles, as the legs relax. Linger in the feeling, the sensation, in the goodness of letting these legs rest. As your awareness moves now to the hands, let yourself feel the release of tension in the hands and the arms as you relax the fingers and the thumbs, the palms of the hands and the wrists, as you relax the arms, the elbows and the shoulders. Linger in the goodness of what it feels like to let the hands and the arms rest. Regardless of what is happening outside of us, around us, out in the world, we can always come back to our own inner world and the goodness that is there. And once we connect to that goodness, we can expand back out into our world and seek the goodness there. As you shift your awareness to the pelvis being supported by the earth, letting yourself relax the muscles of the buttocks and lower belly, feeling your long spine supported, the shoulder blades relaxing, lingering in the goodness of how it feels to just let the front body gently breathe, to just feel the gentle beating of the heart. As you move your awareness up the spine, feeling the head cradled, letting go in the features of the face as you relax and soften the throat and the jaw. As you relax the tongue and the lips, the cheeks, the temples, the lids of the eyes and the forehead. Letting your awareness linger in the sensation of softening the features of the face. Feeling the brain as it's resting heavily in the back of the skull. We can begin to imagine the brain rewiring itself. As you visualize your mudra, imagine that the mudra is resting on the brain. Your two hands resting on the brain, this mudra of benevolence wrapping around the brain. And imagine imagine the brain is lighting up with goodness. The brain is rewiring to seek the good, to operate from the space of happiness. And as you rest your awareness and your focus on the image of the brain being wrapped in this mudra of benevolence, of rewiring, begin to allow subtle images of happiness to light up in the mind. Slowly discovering the things in our lives that are good, that make us feel happy, that create joy in our lives. Let your awareness linger in these joyful images, filling the brain, rewiring. Benevolence, goodness, joy. Now when you're ready, take a deep breath in through the nose and a full breath out through the mouth. Take a moment to wiggle the toes and the fingers, to turn the head slowly from side to side, and to reach the arms up over the head, finding that big, full front body stretch. Now, if you'd like to remain on your back for final meditation, you're welcome to do that. If you'd like to come to seated, simply bend the knees, rolling over to one side. Take a moment to press up to a comfortable seat. Now, as you land in your comfortable seat, go ahead and come back to the mudra. The palms facing down. Just let the hands rest, thumbs together, in a comfortable position. And if you're working on your back, you can bring the hands back to your belly. Our Pralambra Mudra of benevolence. Gently bowing the head, let the eyes close. In Rick Hanson's book, Hardwiring Happiness, again, he talks about how the brain takes its shape from what the mind rests its focus upon. If we rest our minds on self-criticism, worries, grumblings about others, hurts, and stress, then our brains shape into greater reactivity, vulnerability to anxiety, vulnerability to depression, a narrow focus on threats and losses, and inclinations toward impatience, anger, sadness, and guilt. On the other hand, if we rest our minds on good events, good experiences, good conditions, someone was nice to us, there's a roof over our heads, a sunset, a singing bird, the laughter of a child, pleasant feelings, the the things we actually accomplish in a day, physical pleasures, good intentions. Over time, our brains take a different shape. They rewire. They rewire to strength and resilience, hardwired. Realistically optimistic outlooks, a positive mood, and a sense of worth. As you look back over this past week or so, where has your mind been resting? What are the things that you're focusing on? How can we begin to shift to focusing on the good so that we can rewire our minds and our hearts for happiness? Take a moment to bring the hands together at the center of the chest. The light in me sees and honors that same light in each of you. May we remember that when things get tough and we find ourselves stuck in a loop of being focused on the negative, we can take a breath. We can go inward. We can find that positive experience, relaxing with breath. And then when we're ready, expand back into the world to seek out the good. Thank you for being here with me today and letting me guide you through this practice. Namaste.